What up, everybody? Bonzo here. Happy Tower Day, Tower-uary. On today's episode, I've got a gem for you guys. And what this video is I'm going to be going over different battle conditions and how to set up your tournament for different battle conditions. I will be dropping timestamps on this as well. To preface this, for the last month, every tournament, if you've tuned into my lives, Tuesday and Friday, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, see you on the next one, you would have noticed that I've done anywhere between 4 to 6 tournament runs each time. And what I've done is each one of those, I've tested a different assist module or range, or even taking summon on or off, or even sometimes target priority. And I've been doing this because I wanted to find out what works the best. What works the best for different battle conditions. When there's a boss ultimate and protector is, reduced with battle condition, what do? How do I take out all that boss health? When there's a tank ultimate and 40 of those things sit around my tower, not dying, how do I survive? For those, I have your answers. But before we jump into it, I wanted to announce that it is my birthday on February 8th. That is a Sunday. I think the Super Bowl is also that day, which I've been blessed enough to have the Super Bowl weekend as my birthday, as well as Waste Management Open if you're here in the Valley area. I, of course, don't party, so I won't be participating in the activities for each. I will be here hanging out with you guys, doing a Stone Pack giveaway or other giveaway. So mark your calendars on February 8th, my birthday. We're going to be doing a live giveaway. And what I'm going to do is at like 40 concurrent viewers, I'll give something away. At 50, I'll give something else away. At 60, I'll give something else away. 70, so on and so forth. Without further ado, let's get into it. In every, tournament or even every run, there's a few things that you can change. The different variables you can change. What those variables is your cards, or are your cards. So you can change your cards. You can change your modules. You can change target priority, guardian, bots, your range with the adjuster, of course, the card, as well as workshop. Now, what I will say with the workshop is I do not respec for my tournaments. Some people do, others don't. I feel, especially now that there's fleets where you do need some EHP, I feel pretty strongly that until you unlock the workshop presets, don't even worry about getting your workshop respec for tournaments. It just takes too long. If you didn't need defense, if you could go pure glass cannon and literally not do anything defense, then sure. But with fleets, you got to have some defense. So, having a bit of your coins into the coin enhancement and the cell enhancement isn't gonna, change things too much. So we're gonna kind of leave that out for here. We're gonna go through the list, and I have here the Tower Wiki, which I would absolutely recommend anyone who's playing Tower to give this a look. This, not just for the battle conditions, but there's everything on here. That's another point. What I did is, for the last month, I have taken notes, literally notebooks, with my target priority, saying run 1, run 2, run 4, same as above, but no summon. My wall popped 10 waves earlier. If you've tuned into my lives, I've taken a lot of notes on this, so if the video flops, I'm going to be crying. Just kidding. But yeah, drop a like, comment, subscribe, and if you have any questions, please ask them, because I want this to be something that the community, we can all learn from. First battle condition that I want to cover is extra enemies. So this one's pretty straightforward. It's just more enemies spawning. How I got around this, or what I found to work best with this, is using the restorative bonus in the assist module slot, and then not having summon on. When you have summon on, you have so many enemies that, it's good for the extra cash, but at a certain point, if you're already having extra enemies spawn, that's extra, hits of chain lightning that are going to go towards the extra enemies or the commons that could, in theory, be going towards elites or protectors or bosses. And later in runs, there's going to be a lot more bosses, protector, elites. So you don't really want the more enemies on it. What I'll say with this too is, for the tournaments, and let me actually pull up my tower and show you. So this is with the, let's say, pretense, is that what it's called? But I use Amplifying Strike as my primary cannon. I use Anti-Cube Portal as my primary armor. And then for my generator, I use Project Funding, and for my core, I use Dimension Core. You can see the stats here. They're fractioned, of course, because of the assist slot. You kind of have to use Dimension Core and Project Funding and Amplifying Strike if you have it. If you have all those, you pretty much have to go with those for your Glass Cannon primary modules. I would also argue anti-Q portal. However, my armor experience isn't as much as, say, a lot of other people, because I know orbital augment's really good, and I use space displacer as an assist. Some people would use that as a primary. What I was doing for these is I was taking out different assist modules, I was switching out cards, I was changing the farming range, and what I found with extra enemies was that having restorative bonus as the assist and no summon helped me get farther. And what I would do, and this is huge with restorative bonus, but don't play at the full speed. Like right here, you'll see I'm at 6.3. I have tested this multiple times. I know they said they fixed it, but it was improved, but it's not fully fixed. Your attack speed at a certain level isn't going to fully register. So for example, there's attack speed going, but the speed of the game is 6.3 in this. If I go down to 0 energy shields, and let's say I get second wind activated, I would guarantee that if I lowered my speed to 3 to 3.5, I would survive and get all my energy shields back and even make it all the way to the next second wind recharge. So in tournaments, what you want to do is, especially with restorative bonus, is once you lose an energy shield, in my opinion, drop it down to 2.5 speed, maybe 3, and then let your run play out from there. Which, yes, is going to kind of suck having to, wait through it, go a little bit slower, but that's how you get the most out of the restorative bonus assist. Next battle condition that we're going to cover, and this is actually one of my favorite, and this is one that we've seen at least one or the other for the last, I think, month, like 6 or 7 tournaments in a row, and that is boss ultimate or a plasma cannon, say, nerf. And the reason why this one sucks is if your boss is spawning with double the health, plasma cannon basically just gets it down to full health. You then have to eliminate all of that with just your normal tower damage, which can be really tough. So what I found to work for any extra boss health battle condition, whether it be plasma cannon or whether it be just boss ultimate, is simply using Pulsar Harvester as the assist slot. If you've tuned into my lives and you've seen me use this bad boy, I have legit had runs where a boss will come and it will be like minus 44% health due to level reductions. So yes, there is a diminishing effect after 100. The important thing is with the boss ultimate, or like the plasma cannon nerf, bosses take so long to get to you that your pulsar is going to get so many hits on it that it's really going to stack up the damage that it takes with level reduction. And you also notice that there's a diminishing return after 100. At Epic, it's like a 1% chance, I think. And when you're playing, or in Legends, you probably have very good attack speed, so you're getting a lot of projectile hits onto the enemies, and that's going to chunk their damage, or chunk their health, which will then help you survive a bit farther. That one too, with the boss ultimate, it kind of, there's other battle conditions that come in, like if there was also a tank ultimate, I would say go with extra range. For the most part, what I've found is for boss ultimate with more health, or the plasma cannon reduction, simply using Pulsar Harvester gave me a lot more survivability. Next is Mass Enforcement, which this last tournament had Mass Enforcement. I tried using Shrink Ray as an assist. I didn't really see anything for this. I didn't really see any benefit from the Mass Enforcement. It was okay, but in my opinion, it was still better to use Astral Deliverance on a shorter range of having, say, your range in line with your workshop orbs. That's what worked best for me on Mass Enforcement, but that one's not really too much of a concern of a battle condition, so obviously test what you want to. There's usually more, say, higher priority battle conditions that you got to watch out for. So Mass Enforcement's kind of like whatever. Another fun one is the Basic Ultimate, or basics have like a 5% chance to spawn as a fast, or 3% as a tank, or 1% as a boss. If you have that firstly, it reinforces that you need to have Amplifying Strike as your primary cannon module, because the more bosses means more damage uptime. And so if you're going to be probably having a boss just about every tournament, or every run, which means you'll probably have full uptime with Amplifying Strike, so that's what you run with. What I found with this, and this is going to sound kind of controversial in a way, or with the Basic Ultimate with more bosses and Boss Ultimate, more range and death penalty assist did well for me. It did better than, say, a 76.45 range with Astral Deliverance. The reason why is when you have too much range, the bounce shots, you're not going to get as many. So Astral Deliverance's benefit goes down with more range. Even though, of course, it says it increased some with range, it's not that much. However, when you have the basics that turn into bosses, even a death penalty as an assist that's just an epic is going to get you something like a 5%. Yeah, it's a 5% chance to, say, just one-hit kill any enemy. And so when you have the extra bosses spawning and there's other things popping up, it means law of averages, more bosses are going to spawn. So if you can eliminate 1 out of every 20 bosses, it's going to be more beneficial. So at least for me, with my tower setup, for the basic ultimate, where basics could turn in just about anything, I found that more range and death penalty assist did the best for me. Alright, the next battle condition is more enemies. And this one's pretty simple. Just take off summon. When you have summon and more enemies, there's just so many enemies on your screen. Even if they're little commons that, you know, don't really cause much of an issue, when you get late in tournament runs, commons are usually not going to get one-shot eliminated. So that's extra chain lightning and extra projectile hits that it's taking up. Yes, you could argue that having summon on with more enemies is going to be plenty of bounce shots, so you could try playing at more range. However, what I found is that with more enemies, taking off summon gave me a longer run, because just too many enemies is too many enemies. It's too many shots that are getting taken away from, say, more valuable shots like on bosses or elites. I also found that with this, G-Comp as an assist slot for my generator did better than Pulsar Harvester. I played at my, not minimum range, but the range I do my tournaments at is 76.45. This is what's in line with, say, my black holes and my tower range. That's what I found to be pretty much the best range in almost every tournament. But there's more enemies. Having more black hole uptime is very valuable, because when the black hole is up, no fast tank ranged aren't going to be able to hit you because of the deactivation of black hole. The only caveat is if, in addition to more enemies, there's like a protector ultimate or tank ultimate, which means that they're immune, or fast ultimate. If you have either of those and they're immune to black hole, then a G-Comp isn't really going to help. What would help here with more enemies would be restorative bonus in your generator assist mod slot. The reason why that is more attack speed. You're going to get more shots off, more enemies. You need the extra attack speed to keep the enemies off of you. So pretty simple and straightforward there. The next one is Ultimate Weapon Duration Battle Condition. This one sucks. And if you just got your chrono field to, you know, the lovely 60 seconds, or you're thinking, yeah, this is great, I have permanent chrono field. And then you'll get this battle condition, and by wave 4 or 500, now your chrono field is not permanent. And playing in Legends, when chrono field goes down, your tower is going to get eliminated. Not immediately, maybe not at the earliest waves, but if it starts going down for a second or two, the enemies get so fast that they're just going to blink right through. And the enemies get so fast that if you don't have a permanent chrono field on with extra chrono field range, it literally will hit your tower so fast that you don't even see it. It'll like go faster than like the frames of the game. So you need permanent chrono field. So how you get past this is pretty simple. Just use G-Comp. Use G-Comp in your assist slot. And when I'm using G-Comp in the assist slot, I'm still leaving all my farming substats on. With the project funding here, I have the good package chance, or +8. So it's not as good as what I have now at like 78% or 79%, but it's still like 74%. That means that with the extra recovery packages, it's going to be giving you more cooldowns, which A, more mines, but B, more uptime on the ultimates. Because you can't have chrono field drop, so having that is very beneficial. And to my understanding, the cooldowns, or the time reduced with the G-Comp, is something that is additive. So if the game's looking at, you've got a, say, 58-second cooldown on your chrono field, and then every other wave, let's say you're getting 10 seconds off of it, well, in time, you'll have, from my understanding, a bank of extra, say, like seconds that are added to your chrono field, meaning that if you get some unluck with like 3 or so runs without a recovery package, that bank of extra time will still have your chrono field being permanent. Obviously, getting more chrono field duration or cooldown is a safer bet. However, if you're not there, using G-Comp as your assist is good for the ultimate weapon cooldown extension. Yeah, the next one that we're going to get into, and this one is one of my least favorite, attack speed. When enemy attack speed is increased, it means that the ranged and the rays are going to attack you faster. Now, that really sucks because you'll see a ray will come into your battle or into your range. It'll spin for a second and shoot. It's almost instantaneous. And it sucks. You really, to target that one and to help fight the enemy attack speed, what I do is I always target ranged first in any battle condition. And then I target elites next when it's attack speed increase. The reason being is when elites come in, I want to make sure they're eliminated right away. And I do not want to give rays any time to come in and screw me. Now, yes, you can get a little bit more in detail with, say, landmine stun, and then having like inner landmine, having space displacer, different things for more crowd control. But I want this video to be focused more so on what you can change between runs with different assist mods and not actual overall, say, tower improvements. Because, of course, what I could say to focus on basically every single battle condition is just get more Chronofield Plus and more damage, get your damage masteries, and everything will get easier. But we all have different towers, so when you're going in tournament to tournament, you can only change one of those like 7 things I mentioned at the time. That's what we're going to be discussing here. Now, with the extra attack speed battle condition, I would also want you to try playing with more range. More range helped me with this one because the extra range means that there was more time for my tower to react to elites in range to attack them. And having them targeted first usually means they got eliminated pretty quickly. But what I found is, yeah, having more range helped with that too, as well as death penalty. Because if you're killing 1 out of every 20, and remember, more range usually means your astral deliverance goes down in quality. But death penalty, if it's killing 1 out of every 20 enemies, well, you're going to get the elites that spawn, and there's a 5% chance that that ray that might kill you is going to get immediately destroyed, which is going to help your run go farther. So yeah, give that a check out. Next one, and this is actually my favorite. This is my favorite when I see it, and this is Tank Ultimate. This is where you'll have the tanks just pile up around your tower and like make a wall around your tower and protect your tower. So what I found works best with this, with Tank Ultimate, is using more range. Get your range to max. Get your range to max. Use area of effect. So you start all your runs with free upgrades, but when your free upgrades are done, I want you to take off the free upgrade card, put on area of effect, and I want you to use G-Comp as your assist slot. And the reason I want you to use G-Comp is it's going to spawn your landmines quicker, your inner landmines, that is. For me, for example, I have my inner landmines maxed out for cooldown at like 40 seconds. 50, excuse me. So having them spawn quicker is going to give me more crowd control for enemies actually hitting my my tower. And why that's important with Tank Ultimate is for the 300 seconds that those things are building up before the black hole activation pulls them out, they're going to be piling up around your tower, and they're actually going to stop the bosses from hitting you. So you can get lucky where I intro sprinted like an extra 100 waves than what I should have, because the tanks, they piled up, and during that time that they piled up for 300 seconds, which is technically 10 intro sprinted waves, with each, intro sprint wave being 28 seconds, it made like an extra wall for me. But there were a few tanks that would just get a little bit closer. They'd start popping my wall. The other enemies would push them in a little bit closer. And so what helped to keep them there was having the G-Comp popping to keep my inner landmines just popping up. It'd basically be like I'd almost have like a permanent little circle of inner landmines. And I also have 9 inner landmines on this dimension core that I use for my primary tournament. And just do a few runs. You'll find with RNG, more range, obviously RNG being luck, and then G-Comp for more inner landmines, say stun activations, and then having area of effect, you're going to be able to get some super luck with the bosses just sticking on the outside of your tower and just sitting there and piling up while you are intro sprinting way past your opponents. That's why Tank Ultimate, I love seeing it. It's my most favorite battle condition because of that. You can get really lucky with RNG. So yeah, that's how you take ultimate. Next one, ranged ultimate. This one sucks. This is where a ranged will take down your tower with just, one hit. It'll pause it. The thing to keep in mind, because I had initially thought, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I initially thought, oh, ranged ultimate, who cares, because I'll just use G comp and get permanent black hole. And since I have black hole deactivation of range, I don't have to worry about it. But that's not true. Any ultimate, whether it be a tank, a protector, a ranged ultimate, a fast ultimate, those bypass your black hole. You kind of have to target them first. When it's ranged as the ultimate, and pretty much in every battle condition that is not a protector ultimate, I'm targeting ranged first no matter what. My range goes first because those things suck. They'll come in your tower range, they'll snipe you. If it is a protector ultimate, that's the only other battle condition where I'll put protectors first. And the reason being is when protectors are first, they're going to fly through your tower range, and they're going to bring enemies with them that'll get to your wall, get through your crowd control, so you have to take protectors out first. With the fast ultimate, I still target ranged first. I do ranged, then I do fast, then I do boss. So the range, just so we can get sniped out, but with fast coming, that's my target number 2 priority, and that usually takes it out. And for the tank ultimate, kind of, going back a second, if I was to do a run with that and the G comp and whatnot, I don't really care so much about eliminating the tanks because I want them to pile up and give me an extra wall. So what I would do is still, ranged, then fast, then boss, then protector. And then what I would do is most likely elites. So it'll eliminate the elites to give me more amplifying strike. And then I'd put tank at the bottom. The reason being is I still want the bosses being targeted, because when the tanks pile up, they give me an extra wall. I want my tower shooting at the bosses to eliminate those, so the tanks can just sit there. And with enough time and enough hits, you're going to get enough ultimate crits on those bosses and ranged and rays that are going off on the outside of your tower. And you'll find that the boss ultimate, or the tank ultimate, excuse me, it really gives you some extra survivability if you get your cards right with luck. And of course, the variables you can change. The next is armored enemies. This one's pretty straightforward, and I know I haven't been looking at this too much, but armored enemies usually means that enemies have X number of hits before they actually take damage. This can be mitigated by having a shortened death wave cooldown with extra, death wave armor stripping, but that's a long-term thing. It's not an actual, answer to your problem. So what I do when there's armored enemies is running restorative bonus as an assist module with slower attack speed. Means you're going to get more, more pops of your attack speed that they spike, which means more bounces, more chain lightnings, and therefore the armor gets eliminated easier. So that's what I would do. If I saw armored enemies and no boss ultimate or no plasma cannon, resistance, I would use restorative bonus as my assist module. I would just do my standard targeting, ranged, fast, boss, protector. Then you could even do closest and go from there. We're going to give a few general tips here. All of us have different setups. All of us have different things unlocked. Like if you have range card mastery unlocked and like spotlight mastery, it might make sense for you to play with more range. For me, less range made more sense because I'd use astral deliverance as my cannon side module assist, and it would give me more bounce shots that would help me eliminate enemies. But in certain battle conditions, having more range, if there's a lot of bosses and the bosses, like for example, last tournament, there was, I think protector was nerfed, and there was boss ultimate, and there was plasma cannon resistance, fast ultimate, enemy attack speed, and enemy speed. So for that one, because the bosses weren't taking as much and there were more enemies, with there are more enemies, that means that I could play on a bigger range because more enemies are going to fill the screen, meaning I'm going to get more bounce shots even with the longer range. So having that, having summon off, so there's not too many enemies, but then playing on longer range meant that my tower had more time to get the Pulsar Harvester hits on the bosses to eliminate their health. So there'd be times where I was doing my run with the more range. I'd have like 4 or 5 bosses on 5 might be exaggeration, but there's at least 4 at some points. And just having the more range with my space displacer and the assist meant that they'd come in, they'd get paused. Law of averages, you hit them enough, you're going to get a lot of the ultimate crit, and I'd eliminate them. Different battle conditions and different, say, runs. What I'd recommend for everyone is do at least a few tournament runs and try it on your minimum range, or say your range in line with workshop orbs. Try it at longer range. In general, when you've got more boss health, you want to use Pulsar Harvester for the enemy level reductions. But if there's something where there's no boss ultimate or no plasma cannon nerf, try using restorative bonus and playing at a lower attack speed, because the more shots is going to mean you get more pops, chain lightning, more bounce shots. And what I do additionally after that is, let's say you eliminate that, okay, this one is, it's a more enemy spawn and a fast ultimate. So I rule out Pulsar Harvester, and I'm instead going to use restorative bonus. So you've got that locked in. Then you think, okay, I'm going to do these runs. I'm going to play at my 76.45 range with Astral Deliverance. We're going to try that with Summon on, and then try it without Summon. Do that, see what works better. If having Summon off worked better, then do another run with Summon off, but try it with bigger range. If that really throws you off, even try it with Summon back on. You kind of have to go through and just one by one change the variables of what you're testing for, and you'll find what works best for you. And I want to give you a few general tips for the tournaments that I use. When I'm in the tournaments, and I can't show you here, but you're always going to start with free ups. So free ups are always going to be on. I have it in the last slot on the far right. So the free ups are always on in the beginning of a tournament. And what I do is when my level skips get maxed out and my attack gets maxed out or close to it, typically what I'll do is just when my level skips are maxed out in gold box, I'll come in here and I'll take off free upgrades, and I will put on area of effect, which is good because then I'm still intro sprinting. So having more area of effect means I'm going to have more, say, stun range on my inner landmines, which is going to give me more crowd control. Also, I do have my Poison Swamp Lab's about half done. So even having some Poison Swamp will give me some more crowd control, which if you're in Legends, you know you need crowd control. Another tip would be if you're doing a run with the restorative bonus, you have to play with recovery package chance. You just have to for the more recovery packages so you get the buff. But if it's a tournament where you're using Pulsar Harvester, you don't need recovery package chance. In my opinion, you don't. Instead, what I would put on is, well, area of effect, maybe the range card, or you could take it a step further and go with health. Extra health is important because when these fleets come up, Saboteur and the commanders, they don't do any damage, but the overcharge, the bane of all of us tower players, it does damage. Look at the damage here. It's 50 trillion, whatever it is, each attack. My health is, on my wall, is 144 trillion, so 3 hits from it is going to take me down. My wall regen isn't that fast at all. So having the health card, which I don't have on right now because it's glass cannon, but putting on health to 4x my health with the health card is going to be a massive boost to my survivability versus overcharge. Now, you could put on defense. However, if you factor in the math, the defense card is only an 11% increase to your defense. This is an extra 11%, and if you look at it, so my defense right now is at like 73 because it's the perks. But if you factor in, an enemy's doing 100 trillion damage to you, minus the 73%, it's doing 27 trillion damage. Adding another 11%, so it's doing like 80% damage, just 20 trillion damage to you, is not that beneficial when you factor in having 4 times health. Because even if your defense is at 10% or 80% or 50%, having 400 or 500 trillion health on your wall versus just say 125 trillion, it's going to be a big boost for the overcharges. Next one that I would say is general tip is your Astral Deliverance is typically better than Death Penalty in tournaments. Why that is the fun thing with Astral Deliverance is you'll notice that it has a static unique effect. That static unique effect is bounce shot range is increased by 3% of the tower's total range. Whether you're epic or ancestral, you still get that same bounce shot range. Now, the next thing is each bounce shot increases projectile damage by 20%. My opinion, it doesn't really matter. You're not doing projectile damage that much anyways, so it tickles the enemies harder. So what I've found out is that playing at a 76.45 meter range, which is in line with my workshop orbs and where my black hole is, that's right where they go, usually Astral Deliverance is the best cannon assist mod for me. However, what I've found is that Death Penalty does have its uses. Death Penalty has its uses if there's the basic ultimate where there's, more bosses spawning, and if there's more boss health, or let's say even quicker attack speed, so the ranged are gonna, or the raise and range will attack faster. Even just having a 5% insta kill chance on any enemy is gonna help you push a bit farther, and it lets you play with more range. Because you need to play at shorter range, in my opinion, with Astral Deliverance so you get the bounce shots. But if you're doing a long range to give your tower more time because there's lots of bosses coming in, they might have quicker attack speed, using Death Penalty is going to be of more benefit than the Astral Deliverance. So that's another thing. Range in line with your workshop orbs is typically what works best in tournaments, at least for me. I don't have workshop orb adjuster yet, but when I do, I'm going to try actually moving my workshop orbs in line with where my space displacer goes. Then what I'll probably do, because this next month I am going to upgrade more to my Inner Landmine Plus, but I'm also considering getting my assist armor mod up to maybe legendary or mythic, so there's just more mine spawning, and having then that range with the orbs right in line with where my space displacers are will mean that the bosses that get in there are just going to get eviscerated. Just hit boss gets hit with the orbs, and the orbs just wipe them clean. That's something you'll want to test, like when you have the extra range that you add on, and of course your orbs are way in. You got to leave the workshop orbs where they are, but you put on extra orbs, you put them out line with the outside line. That's what typically works best. But that's another variable that you can test. What I've found in the majority of my previous tournament runs is having summon off gave me better performance. It is less cash, so yes, you have a little bit less damage. You can't buy as many of the health level skips in the beginning because they usually upgrade this to level 120. Having the summon chip off means your tower isn't getting bombarded by too many enemies. If you're playing at a shorter range, you're still going to get plenty of bounce shots going off. And what it's going to mean is your chain lightning and your ultimate crit chances, they're not going to the basic common enemies. They're going to be going to the rays, to the other elites, to the bosses. And the final tip that I'm going to give for any tournament, and this is a bit ridiculous, but it's get Berserker Mastery, which I got Berserker Mastery like 2 or 3 tournaments ago. My first tournament that I had it at just 30 seconds, I hit 13 death defies. That's kind of unfair, and in fact, I kind of had to wrap up my data collection on these, because within the last week, I would have runs where I'd have, 6 death defies, even with the battle condition reduction. Even with the death defy chance reduced and the energy shield increase, those battle conditions, I still had 3 death defies and got an extra like 100 waves because of it. Which that throws off all the other data, because you get death defies while your intro sprint is going. That's insane. It's absolutely insane. And if there's a battle condition where your death defy is not reduced and energy shields still respawn and rebuild at the same pace that they usually do, you can have some insane luck. This is kind of one of those long-term tips, but I found that just by getting Berserker Mastery was the single biggest improvement in tournament runs of any mastery card that I've gotten, was Berserker Mastery. Immediately upon unlock, I was getting over 100 extra waves in tournaments, beating people that I shouldn't beat, simply because I'm getting good death defies. And even with the death defy battle condition, more energy shield, if you think about it, you have 3 energy shields, then your 1 tower getting hit, and then say second wind. So in theory, even without demon mode, you have 5 hits for your tower to get eliminated. Each of these, because you should have your death defy substat, that extra 5% is huge. So I just need one of these 5 hits on my elimination of tower to give me a death defy, to give me more survivability. So you keep it going with your intro sprint, because if, for me, for example, right now, I have Berserker Mastery at 180 seconds. That's 60 waves, 6 normal speed waves or 60 with intro sprint. So you have that going, and if I get a death defy on, like, let's say one energy shield goes down, death defy here. Great. Then I get 180 seconds, so 60 more waves. And it's not enough time for that energy net or shield to grow back, but typically the wall will grow back, or one of those. Then the wall will give you a little bit of stop to let your other energy shield grow back, and it really just improves. So it's super fun. It's super addicting. It makes tournaments even more fun. Berserker Mastery is my favorite card, and if you want, in my opinion, if you want the quickest way to just shoot up an extra 100 waves, get Berserker Mastery. It's insane. It's so good. The Viking Funeral, 500 times damage. It is insane. And what I would give advice to new Legends players is use intro sprint. Even if your intro sprint is only to 100 waves, unlock. Even if your intro sprint is only to 100, well, seconds, 100 waves. Yeah, 100 waves, excuse me. You get to Legends, you're probably coming off EHP. And now that Legends is in tier 17, new Legends player probably won't even make it to level 100. So what you do is you run intro sprint, you try like an EHP build, then you try it with a glass cannon build. And like death penalty, for example, just to try to get lucky. Maybe more range, maybe less range. Try different things, try different cards, and you might find that, in 15 minutes you do 5 runs and find out as a new Legends player, shoot, my 19 card slots, I should go all damage. It gave me 30 more waves than going EHP. And then when you have that done, then you take off intro sprint and do a run with, say, whatever the card to replace it is. And that way, you've tested for yourself what works best as a new Legends player. That's really it for today, y'all. I know we covered a lot of information. Mark your calendars. If you're a subscriber on this channel, I want you to join in. And what I want to do, what I envision for that is the community given to the community. Life can be tough at times. It can definitely beat you down. I thank God every day that I'm in a very blessed position. And when there's people who, maybe they're a student and they love this game, but they can't get the Epic Pass or the Gem Pass. You saw in one of my last lives, you ask for the player ID, get that in, and then someone donates. If they don't, I will. And it's a lot of good vibes going around. So I'm really excited for that. So see you guys on the 8th. I'll see you before that for my streams, of course. And if you think that any of this is incorrect, or if you have other advice or different things that you saw, say, seem to fit better or work better for different battle conditions, drop it in the comments. If you made it this far, drop your player ID. I'll consider that into an early raffle. Ooh, an early raffle into a Stone Pack giveaway, because I do want to do another at 1,500 subscribers. So if you made it this far, drop your player ID, and I'll put you on a list for the raffle, the secret raffle. But yeah, y'all, I appreciate it. God bless. Good luck towering. Shout out to all my other tower tubers, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday and Friday for more brackets with the boys. But yeah, peace and love, y'all. See you later. Bye.